Uh, let's look at tyrannies in a historical sense. We'll put a historical perspective on what's happening in the U.S. and the world today. So let's see, where are we going to start now? Tyrannies, tyrannies. Well, okay, we'll start with the definition of the word tyrant. In ancient Greek, the word tyrant uh, is applied to a person who assumes power by unconstitutional means. So we can't call Trump a tyrant in the ancient sense, but in the modern sense of the word, it kind of means somebody who's um, a fucking tyrant, just does what he or she wants to do, hurts other people, enjoys hurting other people, and it's just basically vicious type of sociopath slash psychopath. So anyway, all right, what happened to tyrants in the past? Let's go back. Let's go back. Tyrants in the past. I'm thinking of a particularly um, what is that word? I can't think of it. Um, appropriately referenced tyrant who was, of course, not really a tyrant. And I'm thinking of Nero. We can go back to the ancient Greeks, and in those days, you could actually have a good tyrant. I'm pretty sure Pisistratus, or as some people say, Pisistratus. I prefer Pisistratus. Was a patron of the arts, um, but he still was a tyrant by the Greek definition of the word. So let's get back to Nero. Okay, so Nero really just wanted to be an actor. He didn't want to be president. He wanted to be an actor and a musician, and he did. He performed in public, which was scandalous for an upper class Roman, especially the freaking emperor, to do. So all right, but I don't think he was particularly bloodthirsty. I'm sure people died at his hands, or on his order, not at his hands, on his orders. Um, but he he wasn't as bad as sometimes. Like I guess we could see. Now I'm going to digress to Caligula. Caligula was people liked Caligula. He was a terrible. Statesman. He wasn't a statesman at all. He spent all the money the empire had. He insulted his personal guard, so basically it was the captain of his guard who murdered him and his wife and his child. So he was tyrannical, but not strictly a tyrant. Back to Nero. The parallels between Trump and Nero are much closer. When Rome burned, people said, "Oh, Nero was playing his Kitha or whatever." No, he was out there with the bucket brigade trying to stop the fire. But after the fire, there was all this land that had been cleared of buildings because they all burned down. People were displaced and homeless. Nero didn't build them new houses. What he did was build himself a giant thing called the Golden House. I guess he liked gold like another uh, would-be tyrant that I could name. In fact, I just named them. But all right, anyway, the Golden House featured a giant statue of Nero, and it was way taller than Trump's statue, and it was made out of gold. Right. Then it also featured a lake, and God knows how much of Rome it actually took up. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up. But people were pissed off because their homes, which had been burned, were rebuilt upon as Nero's gigantic golden house. I bet if we looked really closely at the architecture of the golden house, which is a huge rambling thing, we'd find something that looked like Trump's ballroom. So anyway, golden statue, golden house, kind of reminds us of somebody. Now, this pissed the people off. This basically pissed everybody off, like just everybody. So Nero knew they were coming for him. He didn't know what they were going to do with him. He was afraid. Nero was afraid. He was the kind of guy who would um, pay a doctor to give him a false diagnosis of bone spurs because he was really a coward. He was a sniveling coward, as the saying goes. So he ran out of the palace. I don't even think he knew where he was going. And of course, he didn't have the guts to stab him, so he had a slave stab him. And when he died, he said something like, "Oh, what a great artist dies in me," you know. Well, maybe he never said that. Maybe people made that up. People just like to make things up. Anyway, he died because he didn't want to face the people that he screwed. He was decent enough. He was decent enough to off himself. Okay. Other dictators and tyrants have not been so decent. Let's see. Let's go historically. We did Caligula. We did Nero. Don't even think of mentioning Caesar because Caesar was appointed dictator. Caesar's magistracy was legal. He was murdered by one percenters because he was taking care of the people. Caesar today would have been a Democrat with balls, and the people that wanted to kill him and actually did kill him would be Republicans today. They didn't have organized political parties in those days, but everybody knew there was a big split between the rich and the poor. Caesar was a decent rich guy who tried to help poor people, and the other rich people didn't like that, so they killed him. They were all killed off too. Another bunch of losers. Some of them committed suicide. A few of them committed suicide um, because they were afraid to face Caesar's clemency. He didn't execute his enemies. That was his problem. I'm digressing on Caesar right now. All right, so this is going to be a long video, so I'm just going to do another one on another tyrant.